Just an update for Winx Stakes Day here on Saturday. Track is rated a heavy 10. It's been quite a wet week and wet last 3 weeks here at Royal Randwick, but we've had just over 76 millimetres of rainfall in the past 24 hours. That takes us to around 160 for the week. So quite damp, but the track continues to handle it well. The rail remains in true for our first Group 1 of the season. So lovely pad of grass on the inside, a little bit of marking out wide, but the true running is certainly our best pad of grass. The rain is forecasted to continue over the next 24 hours. Our forecaster is saying that it may well clear up a little bit by mid-morning tomorrow on Friday, and there is a slight chance of some lighter showers there on Saturday, but certainly nothing as significant as what we've seen over the last week.
Yeah, welcome back to the Morning Line. That is the track report as of yesterday. There for racing at Royal Randwick come tomorrow for the first Group 1 of the new spring racing season. The Winx Stakes, hopefully we get it underway. As I say, a very good morning to Brett Devine. You know it must be wet if even Michael Wood's not out on the track for the track report and he's seeking a little shelter under the grandstand, as I'm sure patrons will be doing tomorrow. There, plenty of it is the good news. Plenty of cover there at Royal Randwick. If we do in fact go ahead, Brett, give me some positive news, please.
Yeah, a very good morning to you, Lewis. Good morning to all the punters. It is very positive, I must say, in terms of going ahead tomorrow. Now, obviously, the track is a heavy 10, and it is quite a heavy 10, but just speaking with Michael Wood this morning, that penetrometer reading is at 6.26. Now, that's not quite as high as often it can get, so that in itself is a positive. Look, we've had 33 mils overnight, which takes it to 180 for the last 7 days, but the good news is this, that the forecast is following what Michael and the team have been expecting now for today and for tomorrow. They're even expecting around 4 or 5 hours of sunshine, believe it or not. Wow, that'll certainly take the crowd by surprise. And very, very little rain by tomorrow and tomorrow morning. So that's all good positive news. We're certainly going ahead. There's no question of that. Even speaking to Michael, even the last shower that passed through about half an hour ago, Michael walked out onto the track and he said there's no water on the surface at all. So it is getting through the profile. We're back to the true position where we haven't been since basically the end of May. So there's an area on that track there up against the fence that hasn't been used for a long time, and it's pretty much been a month since we've raced on the Royal Randwick course proper. These are all ticks and these are all reasons as to why you want to get out to Royal Randwick tomorrow to see some of the best horses in the country start off their spring campaigns. It's going to be a great day of racing. Okay, that is all very positive. So, if that sun comes out, that'll be a real moment in time for the first Group 1 of the season. Let's touch on this. Winx Stakes. Will cast our minds back 12 months to see the latest edition of the race, and it was Via Sistina who won. I will note some key differences, though. I think, Brett, she was about $12 this day. Who would have thought what she'd go on to do this preparation? You've got to take $2.30 on a heavy 10 tomorrow for no doubt the best horse in the field. Yeah, look, but she just keeps improving all through her campaigns and all through her racing now that she's settled here into Australia. Gee, wouldn't you love to get $12? I know a mate of mine I'll mention in a sec, he'd love $12 via Sistina. But look, she's obviously earned her right to be the favourite in this field. She has been dominant in weight for age races over the last 12 to 18 months. As you say, this is the first Group 1 of the season. We've got 12 consecutive Saturdays of group racing, Lewis, so really exciting to kick this off. But this field tomorrow, what a field. 9 individual Group 1 winners who collectively have won 24 Group 1s and $50 million in prize money. That just goes to show what sort of quality this field has attracted and will bring people to the track. I've got a mate, his name's Rob. He's coming out with Rick and Morgan tomorrow, and Robbie, well, he is Via Sistina's biggest fan, so I'm sure he'll be having a great time out at Royal Randwick like the rest of us will be, and watching some of the best horses in the country.
Spot on. Let's take a look at the market for this race. As I mentioned, $2.30 for Via Sistina. There's other chances, though. Gringotts there, $6. Fangirl, if she goes around on a heavy 10, I think she's a better 1,400 metre horse than Via Sistina, possibly $6.50. Aliana's a great chance too, $8. And Chill Wolf, is this the preparation? He really stamps himself at the top echelon of these kind of horses. Let's take a look at maybe one that is not as much spoken about it coming into this race, and that's Aliana, this other Chris Waller mare who's an absolute superstar. We know that, the Group 1 ATC Derby winner last time out. This is obviously going to be a little short of her best, but these stayers can often sprint pretty well fresh, Brad.
Yeah, I reckon she's a real knockout hope, and like we just said with Via Sistina and the way Chris Waller maintains their campaigns and they continue to improve, especially these mares, well, if this mare starts to improve in that respect, wow, we could have something in our hands. To demolish a field like that, as you can see in the ATC Derby, is no mean feat. That said, no horse has won the Derby into the Winx Stakes into the spring since the mighty Kingston Town. So that's a little bit of history that she'll need to tick off on. But certainly I think if she doesn't run a big race tomorrow, I'll be very surprised. But she is only going to get better as the spring progresses. But still, looking at that market on screen now, you could have 6 picks and make an argument for plenty of them. Even a horse like Wolf. I mentioned my other mate Rick. He's a Wolf fan. So the punters certainly have a lot of different opinions, and Wolf will really get through that ground. He loves Randwick, and he'll be strong on the line. It's a fascinating race, Lewis, and an appropriate one to kick off what's going to be a blockbuster spring here in Sydney, heading towards the Tab Everest.
Spot on. Before we speak about that Tab Everest and Kosciuszko, have you got a best bet on this Randwick card?
I would say to you, Aliana, each way. I don't think you can do too much damage there. We certainly want to have a pick in the race, don't we, in the big race? So I would say Aliana each way, and if she happens to actually get over the top of them, then it could be a nice collect.
Rightio, market for the Everest about to appear on screen, courtesy of the Tab, of course, and no surprise, there's been little change. Car Ying rising $1.80. Private Harry's back at the trial, $6. Briasa, $8. Jolie Star waiting for a slot at 11 alongside Jimmy Star, who got snapped up by the Tab, and Lady Shenandoah, another one who's on the precipice of getting a position, you would have thought. And here's the market for the Kosciuszko as well, of course, to be run on the same day if you're buying your tickets. I've been shouting from the rooftops here on Sky that I think there's a really good chance in the Kosciuszko if it gains a start. Kimberly Secrets, it came out on Wednesday and won, and the good people at the Tab have kept it at $26. Do you have any thoughts on how those two races may play out, week by week as we get a little closer?
Yeah, well, certainly in relation to the Tab Everest, as the weeks roll on, the interest continues to build and things get a lot more closer to the action, don't they? Briasa, if you haven't caught its trial during the week at Canterbury Park, do yourself a favour and have a look. It was low flying under a throttle hold, so certainly I think that horse has got a slot, and the beauty of that is that the trainer and the stable, the Hawke stable, know they're in the race, so they can just time it to whatever they want to do with that horse. And certainly, I guess, too, a lot more interest during the week with Chris Waller mentioning horses like Lady Shenandoah and Autumn Glow are really in the mix for that Everest as well, if they can show that they've got that sprint in their legs and to maintain that up until the middle of October. So, as always, there's always a bit of news through the week, isn't there? And I caught Kimberly Secret on Wednesday. It was a dominant win, wasn't it, for Nick Olive, a really good trainer from Canberra, and he knows how to win a big race. So that's great value, isn't it? I'm sure that if that horse progresses, that someone will snap it up. So at $26, it might be worth a throw at the stumps.
Here's that QR code for you to scan if you're still looking to buy your Cosy tickets. $5 a pop, buy them yourself or with your mates in a syndicate. Do it however you'd like for a chance to win a share of $2 million in prize money and be there on Tab Everest Day. Brett, you mentioned, obviously, Group 1 racing kicks off tomorrow and then many straight weeks of racing at the top level in Sydney. For those who are heading trackside, thinking of heading trackside, what's on offer? Where can they get their tickets?
Yeah, certainly just the one-stop shop, theraces.com.au. That's our website where you can look at all the race days and book your tickets. Again, we mention it week in and week out, that the Tab Everest Day will sell out. GA ticket sales are 4 times ahead of what they were this time last year. So we're actually expecting to sell out of GA spots about a month before the race. Hospitality is booked solid as well. So go to theraces.com.au. If you can't get into the Tab Everest Day, and there are general admission tickets available, but don't hesitate. Have a look at some of those other days. Of course, the Golden Eagle now moving to Royal Randwick. That's another big day, and the Big Dance Day. But certainly, as I said, 12 consecutive Saturdays of group racing. We're only a few weeks away from the Golden Rose at Rosehill Gardens. That is another big day for that racecourse as well. So there are so many options, Lewis, to go through over the next few months. You can pick and choose, and take some family, some friends, get out to that Wink stand at Royal Randwick, which is all included in general admission tickets. We've announced some of the after the last concert acts that will be on through the carnival. So again, look at the website and they'll go through all those days. theraces.com.au. Lewis, we've got some of the best racing in the world. We've got some of the best punters that are going out to Royal Randwick tomorrow as well. So it's all set up for a big, big spring.
Enjoy that first Group 1 of the season, and we'll catch up with you next week to dissect it, I guess, and then look forward to what's ahead.
Good on you, Lewis, and good luck to all the punters.
Brett Devine there, the Head of Media and Broadcast from the ATC, with that Randwick program going ahead as scheduled at this stage. We'll take a break here on The Morning Line.